All right, everyone, we're going to be starting our second unit, second lesson of Unit 1. It's going to be going over expanded notation. Okay, so we're going to keep talking a lot about place values, so we're really going to need to understand that very well. So expanded notation is when you have a number written in number form, and we're going to basically expand it out to show the value, to show how important every place value is, and what really every digit in the place value, what's happening to that digit. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get started. So we have our place values, thousands. So we know when a digit here is in the thousands place, that means it's being, that tells us how many thousands we have. When we have a digit in the hundreds, tells us for the hundreds, the tens, the ones uh, as well. When we have a decimal, we say and then when we go behind the decimal, we have our tenths, hundreds, and thousands. So when we have digits in these numbers, it tells us how many tenths we have, how many hundredths we have in that place value, or with the digit in that place value. And then if we have numbers in the thousands place value, which is the newest place value for you guys, it tells us how many thousands we have in this number that we have. So what's happening to every digit in these place values? Well, whenever I have a number in the thousands, all that's happening to whatever that number is, say I have 10, say I have 5. Well, that number, if it's in the thousands place, it's really just being multiplied by 1,000. So any number in the thousands place value is just being multiplied by 1,000. What if I have a number in the hundreds place? Well, I'm multiplying that number times 100. If I have a digit in the tens place, I'm multiplying that number times 10. If I have a number in the ones place, I'm multiplying that number times 1. The decimal isn't going to have any numbers in that place value. That's where the decimal goes. If I have numbers behind the decimal, if I have a digit there, what am I going to multiply that number by? I'm going to multiply it by a tenth. How do I write a tenth? Look like this, 0.1 times 0.1. If I have a digit in the hundredths place value, I'm going to multiply it by 100, or times 0.01. If I have a number in the thousands, I'm going to multiply it by 1,000s. So whatever the number is, times 0.001. Now, sometimes we're going to write our expanded notation with decimals. Sometimes, though, we're going to write it with fractions as well. So you just have to be ready to see both of those. So I'm not going to rewrite the thousands, hundreds, tens, or ones because those stay the same. Okay, so we don't really have to do those. Just put a little dash through it. Because if your number's in fraction form or decimal form, it doesn't matter. You're still multiplying times 1,000 times 100 times 10 times 1. What about the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousands, though? If I'm going to be writing my expanded notation in fraction form, which we can do, I would be multiplying by 1/10. So if I have a digit in the tenths place value, I would be multiplying it times 1/10. How do I write 1/10 as a fraction? 1/10. If I have a digit in the hundredths place value, I'm going to be multiplying it times 100th. How do I write that? Well, 1/100. And then for the thousands place, I'm going to multiply any digit in that place value times 1,000ths, or 1,000th, which would look like 1/1,000. Okay. So we're going to be using this to help write our numbers in expanded notation. So let's go ahead and practice. We're going to write our first number. I'm going to say it, and then we're going to practice writing it. We're going to use decimals for this number, okay? So we have 945, and remember when we see that decimal, we say and. Now, how do I say my decimal? How do I say my number behind the decimal? I just say the number I see behind the decimal. I see 28, and I say the last place value that my number, that decimal goes to. It goes to the what place value is 2 digits behind the decimal? That's the hundredths. So 28 hundredths. Okay. So let's practice writing it in expanded notation. So remember, this 9 is in the hundreds place value. So what do I do to numbers in the hundreds place value? I multiply it times 100. So I'm going to take the digit that I have in that place value. I'm going to write that first. I have a 9. Then I'm multiplying it times the place value that that digit is in. It's in the hundreds. We know 9 times 100. If I did that, it would get 900. That number, that digit, 9, represents 900 because it's 9 and it's in the hundreds place value. All right, the 4 is in the tens place value, so I'm going to write our tens place value. I'm going to write the 4, and what am I multiplying it by 10? The 5 is in the ones place value, so I'm going to write the digit 5, and I'm going to multiply it times the place value it's in, which is in the ones. Now we go to our decimals. So I'm still going to follow the same rules that I was doing with the whole numbers. I'm going to write 2, and I'm going to because the digit is 2, and I'm going to multiply it by the place value it's in. It's in the tenths place value. So I got to multiply it by a tenths, 1/10. Well, since we're doing decimals, I'm going to write 0.1. That's how you write a tenth. And if you would like, maybe these numbers up here will help you. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with the 8. I'm going to multiply that by 100 because the 8 is the digit, and then it's in the hundredths place value. So I'm going to multiply it times 100th. Well, how do I write 100? It would be 0.01. Okay, so I just wrote 945 and 28 hundredths in expanded notation. Again, it shows what's happening to every digit in the place value that it is in. Okay, let's try another one, but this time we're going to write it in fraction form. All right, so we have 4,506 and 308. Remember, just say the number you see, 308, and then the last digit, the last place value our number goes to in the decimal. Thousands, 308 thousands. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start with the 4. 4 times the place value it's in. Well, the place value it's in is the 1,000, so 4 times 1,000. 5, the digit, times the place value it's in the hundreds. Now, 0. I can skip over zeros. Don't have to do them. There's no value in that place value, right? There's no digit in the place value. Well, the 0 is the digit, but it doesn't, there's 0 tens, right? So we don't actually have to do that. So skip over zeros. Okay, next digit is the 6. It's in the ones place value. Now we're going to go to our decimals. All right, 3 now, but we're going to write it as fractions because the directions say fractions. 3 times 1/10 because it's in the tenths place value. Well, how do I write 1/10? 1 over 10. Oh, easy enough. Times 1 over 10. I'm going to skip zeros because there's no value in that place value. All right, and then we have 8. And then what place value is it in? It's in the thousandths. So since we're writing decimal form or fraction form, I'm going to write 1 over 1,000. Okay. So good. We were able to write that in expanded notation. All right. Last problem. A bank. This is a word problem. A bank received a check for $835.61. Here's our number, very important. Write this number in expanded notation, your choice. All right, so what do we see? Well, we see the numbers. So let's do something to show how important that number is. Let's just highlight it. $835.61. What else do I see? I see that this question wants me to write this in expanded notation. Our choice. So you can write it. What it means by your choice is you can write in fraction or decimals. I'm going to do decimals. Okay. So how should we do this? Well, the first thing I would recommend to do is write your number from word form because we have it in word form. Write it in standard form. So write it as a number, $835.61. We practiced this some yesterday. 835 and decimal means and 61 cents. Okay, now we're going to have to write this as an expanded notation. Okay, I'm going to start on the left. I'm going to write my number, the digit, times the place value it's in. It's in the hundreds. All right, next one, the 3 times the place value it's in. It's in the tens. 5 times the place value it's in the ones. 6 times the place value it's in. Now we're going to decimals, so we're going to multiply. It's in the tenths place, so how do I write a tenth? 0.1. And then we have the 1 times the place value it's in the hundredths. Okay, so that is writing numbers in expanded notation. We did decimals, we did fractions. So go ahead and make sure you do your practice for the day. If you need any help, make sure you ask your teacher. If you need to rewind the video, go ahead and do that. Make sure you have all your notes. Your teacher's going to be checking those. So make sure you have everything that you need to. All right.